I see it.
All right, so we are live. So I'm going to minimize a few screens. So, Coach Ella, so excited to have. Thank you for the opportunity to get in front of all of your agents. I know you work with thousands and thousands of agents, and on your Facebook group alone, there's over 20,000 ladies on your real estate Facebook group. So, thank you so much for the opportunity. And you've used Cole in the past, right? You might want to kind of set the stage with what you know about Cole.
So first, what I have to do, Tyler, so let me introduce the man of the hour, ladies. Look, we allowed him to come on this platform with all of our boss ladies. So ladies, hello, all of my fabulous boss ladies out there. I am super excited. We get to do this for the first time to go live. I didn't want to, our motto, Tyler, is no agents left behind. And I knew a lot of you guys couldn't get on that Zoom. So I made sure no agents left behind. We are live on Facebook. You guys know I need my hearts. Give me my hearts. So look, I want to introduce to the guy of the hour. He's coming out here. And I said, you know what? You better be ready because these boss ladies are ready. So ladies, we have Tyler from Cole's Directory. You guys know I've been pushing and fighting, and we've been doing a little praying and everything. So Tyler is going to be here, and he's going to share with you guys all of the nuggets, all of the top secrets, he's going to just tell us all of everybody business now. And to let us know how Cole's Resource is a game changer. We've been talking about game changers. We've been talking about dominating in our business. You guys know that list to exist. Cole's Resource is the thing. And I wanted to bring him here so that he can share what he knows and how you can utilize this service and the system. I mean, it's just like crazy. So look, I can go on and on, but Tyler, I'm gonna let you take over. So ladies, give Tyler some hearts, give him some love, let him know how we do it, Real Estate Ladies Rock Style. And so Tyler, you go for it. Tell the ladies a little about you and how you here to change the game for us.
Absolutely, and I love the enthusiasm. So don't ever let go of that, Coach Ella. That is awesome. So my little biography, I've been around with Cole for 15 years, right? So my first job out of college, but our company in general has been around for over 70 years, so 7 decades. And what we've always done is provide a tool for any small business, including real estate agents, to grow their business by thinking of geography, right? So instead of just selling one house on the street, how can you sell the entire street, right? And you referenced Cole Directory, which means of the books from back in the day, the old crisscross directories. And where we are today is we provide an online solution where within your fingertips you can have cell phone numbers and email addresses tied to a person within a specific neighborhood, right? And so, but I mean, what I really want to talk about is okay, data is data, but how do you make data actionable? And so I want to go over some case studies with everybody, Coach Ella, on how to really work a neighborhood and how to create your own leads. And I'm going to probably just share a PowerPoint if you don't mind. And that way we have kind of some basics to look at here as well. So do you see that on your screen right now, the PowerPoint?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. So I'm going to go and just make sure I'm sorry here. Make sure, there we go. And slideshow. There we go. So there you go. Here's a little history about Cole, right? Been around forever. But what I want to talk about is how, being here for 15 years, Coach Ella, I manage all of our strategic relationships, all the major coaching companies like yourself out there who really teach the importance of prospecting. I'm going to all these big conferences. And I'll tell you, one of the common themes that I hear are when agents are on stage, the agents that are getting interviewed, they're saying that they're not the ones that are spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars each month on buying leads, right? Because those same leads are then getting sold to dozens of other agents. Instead, they're focusing on how to create more relationships, right? How are they creating their own nurtures? Because the ROI on those is way higher. That's a more sustainable business. Those leads just don't dry up. It's creating more relationships, right? And so they'll all be saying, how are you creating more relationships? How are you creating having more conversations? And so what I want to talk about throughout here is how to use, data to reach out to neighbors and the different ways that you can do it. And these are just basic studies. And you've heard these before, right? As well, Coach Ella, that, 12% of all homeowners are going to move within the next 12 months, right? That's just pretty much a fact, right? Some areas higher, some lower, but that's U.S. Census data. So 1 out of every 10 people that you're going to talk to is most likely going to move in the next year, right? And then 70% of those sellers are only going to interview one agent to list and sell their home. And so what are you guys doing today? I want to pose that question. What are you guys doing today to make sure that you're in front of those people before they list and sell their home? And if you could in the chat box, everybody, just even type, what are some things that you're doing today to get in front of new prospects? And if you're on Facebook right now, comment that as well. Just so we have kind of an idea of what people are doing here. And so what I want to first talk about is how to dominate a community. And so, Coach Ella, what are your thoughts on when folks like want to start farming a neighborhood? What are some of the things that you talk about?
For one, they need to research the area that they do want to farm and
Absolutely.
making sure that it is something that, you don't want one that nobody has moved in 50 years. So go find a community, but definitely research the community.
Yep.
The area that they want.
Right. And you probably don't want somebody who, if there's somebody, an incumbent already working that farm, that doesn't say that you should not do it, but it might be a different change of attack, right? But if you realize that there's already an agent in there that's farming that farm and they're doing a third of the transactions or half of the transactions, it might not be a good starting point for you, right? And so I want to talk a little bit about Greg Harrelson. He's a client of ours in South Carolina, and I interviewed him here a while back, Coach Ella, and he talked about how to become the community dominator. And I want to give him that term because it has kind of a sexy twang to it, doesn't it? Community dominator. So
yes, put it in the feed, y'all. I like that.
Right, I love it. And so what I asked Greg is, well, what do you do? And so he says the same thing. You got to figure out your farm, make sure there's a turnover rate, make sure there's not someone there, and make sure the ultimate goal is to provide value to everybody within that farm. That's number one, provide value. And then how do you introduce yourself to everybody within that farm? And so he talks about, maybe holding a community event and inviting all the neighbors to participate in that event, right? So maybe it's, having a food drive for the People City Mission and door knocking everybody in that neighborhood and asking for, canned foods, right? And then with the whole goal, as you're having face-to-face interactions with neighbors, they see your name tag, you're having a conversation with them, etc. Maybe it's hosting a movie in the park. And again, now you can call, you can email, you can door knock everybody within that specific neighborhood and invite them to a movie in the park or slushies in the park, something like that, a bounce house for the kids. And then what he talks about is, okay, you want to provide value and you don't want to be instantly attacking people like, oh, have you thought about selling? And you just right away, but start having conversations with people, right? Asking them, well, where are you from originally? Have you thought about moving back there ever? Oh, do you have family, in town? How long have you lived in the neighborhood? What do you like about the neighborhood? What don't you like? And start just having conversations, because once you start having conversations with people, you'll start discovering that people are thinking about moving soon, or they don't like the new neighbors that moved next to them, things like that, right? And then what he'll say is, start notifying everybody within that neighborhood anytime there's any sort of activity, right? So whether it's, a just listed, a just sold, home values are going up, a new business opened up, things like that, provide content to be known as the industry expert. He'll say then also create an e-newsletter, right? So as you're talking to people, get their email addresses. You can use a source like ours to get all the emails within a specific neighborhood. So you can go find all the emails within Pine Oaks subdivision and then create an e-newsletter such as, Pine Oaks or maybe Pine News, something like that in the subject line. So now every time you send an email, in the subject line, it says, you know, Pine News, and then it has the new things that are going on. And he'll discourage, you know, he goes, I don't send out recipes. I don't let people know about daylight savings time. You know, those are great, but those don't make me look like the industry expert. Instead, I provide value of things that they want to know what's going on within their neighborhood. You know, that number of transactions, if, you know, there's an open house coming up, things like that. And then he also talks about to dominate a community, become a community dominator, think long-term, right? So you're not going to just get a listing probably tomorrow from doing this, but long-term, 2 months, 4 months, 6 months of consistently doing this, you're going to have people start calling you because you're going to be top of mind. And however, if you do this enough, it's a numbers game, right? So the more people that you talk to within that, people are going to be like, I can't believe, you know, we're having this conversation right now. Just last week, my husband and I decided it's time for us to downsize. Or you're going to discover people might be getting a divorce here soon. And just during those phone calls, they're ready to, you know, start getting ready to list their house because their marriage is over, right? There's, you know, so when you really farm a neighborhood and you talk to everybody, leads like that start coming in front of you on your own, like they're in front of you now, and you're the only one. So it's not somebody who filled out a lead on a lead form. That lead got sent to 30 different agents. That lead is a professional shopper, so they're talking to dozens of other agents. It's you and you alone. What are your thoughts on this, Coach Ella? You're on mute. So,
yes, no, I'm over here absorbed because I'm over here taking notes. Like, so right. I'm like, okay, Tyler, don't bother me right now. I'm getting my notes because I'm going to definitely drill them when this is over. So all of my boot campers, you know, this is an assignment. So Tyler, please don't let me stop you. But ladies, are you listening to this? Like, this is what we talk about every day on this page. Creating your own opportunities. Do not wait for somebody to tell you how to do. We bring in all the secret sauce to the page. So Tyler, please don't stop.
All right, perfect. Yeah, so that's just one way. And I would think too, I like to talk more about the community side of things, about really giving back. Think outside the box. So I talked to a client the other day, is that, you know, they're a big pet family. And so they did a food drive for the local dog shelter down the street, right? You know what I mean? So things like that you're passionate about, you know, and then also think about with your farms, you know, maybe it could be, you know, think about when finding your farm, the church, maybe it's a neighborhood that your church is in, where your kids go to school in, you know, maybe it's a neighborhood that you live in, and then you can keep on expanding. But just thinking of first things first, though, dominate one specific neighborhood. You can't be all things to all people, right? And so if you just focus on one neighborhood, and again, you don't even have to use a product like ours. Our product is, you know, very, very affordable. However, door knock. That's something you can do. You can door knock, and that's free of charge, right? There, start having conversations using all the tools that we talked about here. So perfect. Okay, I'm going to go to slide 2, and what I really want to about this is because it talks about slide dial, slide broadcast, and the fact that some people are a little nervous to actually pick up the phone and make phone calls. And so using a tool like slide dial just helps with that. And are you familiar with slide dial, Coach Ella?
Yes, absolutely. We have been talking, like I said, we've been working our way up to this webinar, and I shared with those that are in the boot camp, you know, because they don't like cold calling. They don't like just randomly calling. And I said, well, you know what? We have something for you. No excuses, no results, right? Right. So definitely just give them a little overview of
so slide dial. Yeah, so slide dial, everybody, it's not our company, right? It's a separate company. I think they're based out of Boston, maybe. But essentially, it's a software that allows you to drop a voicemail to somebody and their phone never rings, right? So the fact that I could leave I put in a phone number and I can leave a message, hit send, and it goes to that cell phone server. The phone doesn't ring, and the voicemail just gets delivered behind the scenes. They also have a broadcast feature where you could record one voicemail and upload 100 phone numbers, 1,000 phone numbers, 5,000 and it has to be cell phone numbers because it's like the server's talking all over my head, right? The cost is anywhere from about a couple pennies per delivered voicemail. They have different packages depending on how many you'd want. So, for example, this client of ours, Johnny Musillo in New Hampshire, he talks about how when he has buyers who want to live in a specific neighborhood, he'll record a voicemail, grab those cell phone numbers from Cole, and then send a voicemail to 500, 1,000 people within that certain neighborhood. And he had a really good example. So I interviewed him here a while back, and he talked about how he had a client, a young family with young kids that lived in a super busy street in town. And the street name was called like Patterson Street, but it was a super busy street. And his buyer, that couple, they were ready to buy another house. They would sell the house with him if he could help them find a house in their dream neighborhood, because they were not going to live in a busy neighborhood. They wanted a quiet neighborhood. So what he did is he went to Cole, grabbed the cell phone numbers, the 500 cell phone numbers in a certain subdivision, and then he dropped a voicemail, say something like, hey, my name is John Musillo. I'm a local real estate agent in your area. I have a great young family who currently lives on Patterson Street. And as you know, Patterson Street is just so busy. It's not a place you'd ever want to raise two young kids on. And they want a quiet neighborhood just like yours. If you're ever thinking about selling or know somebody who might and doesn't want to have 100 people come through the house and deal with all of the nonsense, give me a call, let me know, right? He also sent an email with sort of the same message with the subject line of, buyers looking in Pine Oak subdivision or something like that. And he said he got a really, really high open rate with it as well. So funny story, there was a retired couple. The husband got the voicemail and called him back. And then the wife of that husband actually got the email and replied back, both the same message that they're moving to a retirement home. They're looking about selling soon. And if you really do have a buyer, yes, come bring them to our house, because that would save us a lot of heartache. So long story short, family went to the house. They loved it. They bought it. And then he has their house listed right now for sale. And so a pocket listing he got out of it. And then now he's selling their house. So he'll get 3 transactions from it as well. And so I'll tell everybody is, think of that messaging. And everybody that you're talking to, right, has at least one buyer that they're working with, right? Don't you think?
Absolutely. So
guys, want to go after listings. Listings the most important. I get that. But we all have one buyer, right? And so what I'd say is be very descriptive about it. And so, if it's a young family that wants to live in a certain neighborhood, Amy Fisher, she's a client of ours in Atlanta, and she shared with me a while back that, she had a huge family with 5 kids. And so they needed a big house with 6 bedrooms. And so she called into a neighborhood with a very specific message of, hey, do you know anybody who has a 5-bedroom house who might be looking to sell? And so a very non-confrontational phone call. And then she had people calling her back, you might, with referrals. So lots of opportunity there. High level thoughts on that, Coach Ella?
You know what? My brain got going. So I say for all of my agents that are out there and you have buyers that you can't find a property for and you've been working with them for months, but we're sitting back waiting for a listing agent to list a property. This gives you an opportunity that you can dive into being able to get your own listing. Now, when you're making these calls or when you're using slide dial or whatever, you have a purpose to call these folks. So any of you guys out there that are holding around these buyers for 2, 3, 4, 5 months because you can't find anything, this is a great opportunity. I love that. Testimony that the young man was using, because create your own opportunities. There are thousands and thousands of people living somewhere, and I can reach up the phone and call them and say, hey, look, or if you don't want to call, you send a message. I have a buyer, you do. And if you don't have a buyer, somebody in your office have one.
You can be generic, so I'll say be as descriptive as possible as you can. But however, if you work at a company, hey, our company has a buyer, right? And go that route. So completely agree. One other thing I wanted to talk about there is that you can get a Google phone number for like $5 a month, right? And so what John will do is when he sends a voicemail out like this, he'll use on the caller ID because it will show missed call from a certain number, and you can put whatever number you want that to be. He'll create a Google voicemail phone number. And that way, when people start calling him back, because you'll get some people who may be like, why'd you call me? Or I saw a missed call on my phone or a voicemail. And he can know instantly that Google voicemail number is tied to the neighborhood that he just dropped a voicemail in. So now as people call him back, he's not asking, he's not seeming like, oh, who is this? It's like, oh, yeah, I just called and left you a voicemail here a couple hours ago. You live in Pine Oak subdivision, right? And it just helps with that rapport. So for an extra $5 a month, that's something you can do as well.
I love it. I mean, this is like, guys, there's no excuses. None.
Right. So
I love this.
Perfect. Okay. So the last thing I want to talk about here is open houses, right? And the fact that you can create this massive buzz around an open house. And I know there's a lot of studies out there. I have no idea what your opinion is on this, but a lot of people will say, well, open houses are a waste of time because you rarely sell your listing through an open house. And so Kyle Whistle, he's been a client of ours on and off for a decade, right? And he'll say, I completely agree with you. It's not very, very rare do I actually sell one of my listings via an open house. But he goes, I have hundreds of leads that I've created that have turned into numerous listings from the people who have gone through the open house because it gave me an opportunity to have conversations with them. Because most people who go through open houses, they at some point are going to be, the reason they're doing it is they want to compare their house to that house, right? They want to know what the inside looks like compared to the inside of their house, right? So he talks about how he does exclusive open houses just for the neighbors on the Friday before. So he has his regular open houses on Sunday, and he lets everybody and their dog know about them, right? He puts up tons of signs. He sends out emails, makes phone calls, door knocks, all that stuff. But he'll do an exclusive open house for the neighbors and then he'll actually do a food truck. So he'll have he'll contact a local food truck, have them set up shop in the driveway or wherever it is at the open house, and we'll invite all the neighbors. Sometimes he'll, agree to purchase meals for the first 5 families that come or whatever. And he basically says, hey, the Joneses just listed their house. This is a great opportunity for you to pick out your neighbors, come check out their house and see if it meets the needs of a family that you might know, right? And so again, guys, his whole goal though is to ask tons and tons of questions with everybody who stops by, right? Oh, how long have you lived in the neighborhood? What do you like about the neighborhood? What don't you like about the neighborhood? Where are you from originally? Have you thought about moving back there? And when you start noticing, people are going to start opening up. Well, yeah, our daughter graduates in May, and, we might be ready to downsize at that point. Or, Kyle, do you really think they're going to get $380,000 for this house? Can they really get that? Yeah, they can. The market's still really hot right now. Yeah, it's shifted a little bit right now and it's slowed down, but you can still get top dollar for your house, right? So by really, not just leveraging an open house, exploiting it, right? And the same thing with one of your listings. It's a great way to call around a listing. And so call around a just listed, call around a just sold, call around an open house and have conversations. And tell me this, Coach Ella, what you think. If you had a listing appointment tomorrow and you go into that listing appointment, and let's say you are competing against 2 other agents. It doesn't happen, but let's say you do. And you say, part of the thing that I'll do with all of my listings is that I'll call your closest 500 neighbors and invite them to an open house and ask them if they know if anybody wants to move into the neighborhood. Do you think that might help you get a listing appointment?
Absolutely.
Just by saying you do that action.
And I can guarantee you not a lot of agents are doing that. You guys would have the data now. You can show them, like you can literally go in your Cole's directory at the listing and show them, here's all of your neighbors within a quarter mile of the house. I have access to that. You know how powerful that is?
Right. And then let's say you do get the listing and it's on the market for a few weeks. You do your calling, you do your emailing, all of that. However, it's not selling. So now you can maybe go back to Mr. Seller and say, hey, I think it's time for a price adjustment. and they can balk, and you can say, hey, I called all the neighbors. I emailed all the neighbors. I had an open house and invited them all to come. We've done everything we can on the marketing side. I think it's time for us to drop the price, right? It gives you a little leverage to have those kind of uncomfortable conversations per se.
Absolutely.
Okay, no, go ahead.
No, I was going back to the gentleman that when you said about the open houses and people don't think the open houses. I did an interview a couple of the boss ladies here, Miss Dawn, Miss Candy, and they sold like 50 houses just via open houses. So ladies, open houses is awesome. And I love the creative food truck. Lucretia, or one of our members, she had the ice cream truck that come for the neighbors. So just be creative. This is just an opportunity to send that invite. So it's different than just having the truck there. You don't know if anybody gonna come because they wasn't invited. They don't even know if they're supposed to come. But when you send that invite, now they're like, oh, well, I got an invitation to come.
Yes, and you make it exciting, and it's a big thing, right? And again, gives you opportunities to have face-to-face conversations with people, right? I mean, because that's where it's at. That's when you really start learning. And I interviewed, another lady here a while back, this Heather Smith, and she's talking about how she uses it all the time. And then it's in the follow-up. Once you create a lead on your own that no one else is competing with, and then you start following up with these people, you're creating a relationship, and then it's almost awkward for them not to use you because you already met them face to face. You already built that sort of nurturing, and then when it's time to pull the trigger, you're top of mind, and it's awkward if they don't end up picking you. So again, just lots of different ways. And again, I think what's nice about everything I've really talked about, Coach Ella, is that none of it is really just cold calling, right? It's a very non-confrontational way to have meaningful conversations with people.
I always tell the ladies is, look, we are a resource to the community. So if you're providing resources, and you're not the salesy, you don't have to sell yourself. People are going to work with you because they work with people they like, they know, they trust. And you are a trusted advisor in their community, and you're just bringing value to them. Ladies, you guys are having these workshops, you're having events in your community. This is unlimited. So I'm going to have my workshop. You're worried about nobody's coming. You're trying to farm an apartment complex, or you're trying to farm this community, but you can't get to them. You don't want to mail out thousands of postages. So you send an invite. An invitation is a whole lot more than, hey, look, you want to sell your house? No, it's an invitation. We welcome you to come. We're having a private viewing just for the community, just for the sellers, the homeowners, right? Yes. So we're having a private viewing just for you guys, and we're going to have the food truck, or we're going to have some cookies and cake, or whatever you're going to have.
Right. Or again, a food drive for the People's City Mission. We'd love for you to come. We can, support your community, and anything that we collect, we'll make sure that they know it came from Edenton South subdivision, right? From your homeowners association. We'll make sure that you're recognized from it, and you're giving back, but a very non-confrontational way to actually have outbound efforts and get in front of people. And then price-wise, I just want to, we just launched, and Coach Ella, I know we talked a lot about this, and you was like, hey, I know that you have the annual commitment, and that's great. I understand the value, but for some people, that's just a lot to bite off, right? We talked about that numerous times. So I'm excited to announce we now have a monthly option. So it's $99.50 a month, and I might just give a quick 2-minute tour on how the system works, and we'll open it up for Q&A. But price-wise, guys, my wife and I went to Applebee's with our kids here last week. I mean, we about spent $100, right? So all we're saying is a 3-month commitment where you can go into our platform, pull as many contact lists as you want to, and it's only $99.50 a month, and then some month-to-month contract after that. So you have to make sure to call in, make sure to mention Coach Ella. On the Facebook page, we'll put your landing page and all that kind of stuff on there as well for everybody. But just make sure to call in and mention your name to get that discounted rate. And I'm just going to go in, if you don't mind, and I don't want to spend too much time on the actual product itself, but I'm going to go and just give a quick little tour of how the system works. So that way you can actually maybe, people can kind of see as well. So while I'm doing that, do you have anything you want to add either?
No, I have some assignments to give, I see. So this is going to be some great information on our Sunday Live at 5, ladies. We're going to create, I'll tell you what I want you guys to do. For all of my Facebook family that's out there, I want you guys to create a list right now of what could we do with this data? What could we do with this information? Give us some tips. So put it in the feed. And guys, I hope y'all been giving Tyler some hearts. Come on now. You know how we do. Give him some hearts.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So I just want to give a quick little tour to everybody just to give me an idea of how it works. But call one of our sales reps and inside sales team, and they can give you a better tour and kind of go over the details. Like I said, we'll open up for Q&A as well. But essentially, how it works is I could go in here, I log in, you get access to your entire state of data. You never would use that much. I could say put in a zip code and say I want everybody's email addresses for that entire zip code. And it's probably going to give up way too much data here, but I just want to show you how much data is available at everyone's fingertips, right? So I live in Lincoln, Nebraska. Our population's about 300,000 in the metro area. And for that zip code alone, we have 9,800 email addresses. And you can see those emails are all tied to a specific person and address. And we can easily just download them to Excel, right? So super easy. And you can see that on your screen right now, right, Coach Ella?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to make sure. The second part would be a neighborhood. Let's say I wanted to go in and find a specific neighborhood. I can go in there, type in that address. Gives me a few seconds here. And it's going to tell me who's tied to that specific address, right? So if there's expireds that come up in your MLS, like in my market in Lincoln, there's only a few expireds that come up every day. You can look up those one by one and find the emails and phone numbers for the people that live at that address. But the biggest thing would be you want to map out a specific neighborhood. So you can see here it brought up Edenton South, and I can just start mapping out that neighborhood. And then within a few seconds here, it gives us the entire list. It could be 500 records, 5,000. No idea how big the area is that you're mapping out. So you can see here we had 1,300 records that came up in that area that I mapped out. And we get their addresses, a home phone were available. So anybody that has a home phone, we're going to have it. A cell phone. We have a cell phone for at least half of all households now. And then an email for about half of all households as well. Sometimes we'll have 2 emails or 3 emails, but at least 1 for half of all households, just to make the data actionable. And there's some other little things that you might want to add. And again, I'm not here to just teach everybody how to use the product, but some people like maybe adding credit range to the list. So I could have that same list and add credit rating. I could add maybe age of the person. I could add length of residence. And I'm doing these pretty quickly because obviously I've been here for 15 years. I know what I'm doing, right? But I'm going to add those to my list, length of residence, hit submit, and instantly there's an overview now of the 1,300 people that live in Edenton South neighborhood that I mapped out. We have their names, but now we have credit ratings for folks. We have the age of the person. So again, your messaging might be different when you're talking to somebody. I wouldn't mention on the phone call, hey, you're 72 years old, right? I mean, I wouldn't say that, but your messaging might be more tailored towards an empty nester message versus, you know, wanting to move up to a new higher level neighborhood or bigger family, things like that, and then length of residence. So a lot of people will take that sort of data as the analytics side of things and focus on that. I'll say, though, when you want to dominate a farm, you want to focus on everybody because you don't know when someone's going to get divorced or might pass away, unfortunately. However, you want to do targeted messaging, you could use those tiers as well. So thoughts on that? Sorry, I just talked non-straight there.
I was getting ready to say, you know what? I just learned something. Would you talk about the credit score, the length of time? Because think about the resales of people that have been in a house, maybe townhouses, and they've been there a long time. They're ready maybe to upgrade. Oh my God, I got so much. I'm like literally, because I didn't know.
So some of that is new. So I mean, just here a few months ago, we launched some more premium data sets. And, a lot of that stuff is scored data, and it's not going to be 100% accurate, in that. But length of residence, that should be pretty accurate. Age, we're getting the birth dates, So, yeah, just kind of the ways to kind of, I don't want to say profile, but just target certain.
Right. We had a question. I know that it crossed the the DNC.
Yep.
You select against that. Somebody else asked, Candace, does it find the homeowner's information or the residents of the house? So like if it's a renter, who's
so great question. So that's a flag. So yeah, I'm going to go bop right back in here again. And if you want to maybe look at the questions while I'm doing that.
Yes. So that was a question from Candace.
That's perfect. So I'm going to bop back in here, and you're going to see, so you could actually add the flag of a homeowner or renter. So I could add that to my screen, or when I start my search. So we're always going to provide the tenant of the property, Coach Ella. So it's always going to be however, you could say, I want everybody who owns their home and only a confirmed homeowner to show up in my list.
Okay.
Or say, I want all the apartment renters in a certain zip code. And for that alone, we have clients who love our data, because if you could say, here's all the apartment renters in a certain zip code, that's gold. And just to do a focused, campaign on apartment renters and actually, first-time home buyers, or maybe apartments where people are paying $1,800 a month for rent, we'll just go buy a house, right? And
Gotcha.
so we'll actually provide apartment 17, apartment 19, of the actual tenant in that apartment building as well.
Awesome. Okay, we have Miss Janet asked the question. Of course, we all have used different types of services, and the accuracy rate is like a hit or miss.
Yep.
And I know that this is not 100%, and I've always shared that for me, I would give it probably about 85% accurate. So what have you seen? So her question is, what is the percentage of providing the information regarding the area? So she kind of like wanting to know the accuracy of the data that you guys have.
Yeah, great question. So, and if you call one of our sales reps, it's going to be one of the very first things they're going to talk about with you, right? Because you can't just call T-Mobile and say, hey, give me your 100 million consumer file, please, and update it monthly. So we're working with third-party vendors to get that data. A lot of it's opt-in data. A lot of it is if you go get your oil changed, if you get your car service, get a warranty in your car, all get started and put into a database. So what I'll tell you is, I hate to give out percentages because then you get tied to it. But if in general, I would say by using different ways to score the data in our system, it's going to be around 70 or 80% accurate. But don't hold me to that. But that would be close to it. And then it's making sure to use the right scripts when you do it. But for example, when you do your search here, Coach Ella, we would teach everybody to do this. I don't want everybody to be like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelming him, right? But however, there's ways to say, hey, do I want all possible records, or do I want only the best? Because sometimes it's going to happen is we have previous occupants in a house and we don't know where they've moved, but they're still kind of in la-la land at the old house, right? And so some people will say, I want those people too. I want everybody, because if they pick up their phone or respond to an email, that's a lead, because they're a human and they're going to be wanting to buy a house at some point, right? Other people will say, no, I just want the best data possible. So you can say, okay, I don't want previous occupants, and I only want head of household, because the head of household is going to be the best record we have. And then if I narrow it down by homeowners, again, those are going to be the best data versus a renter that's more of a transient population. So, and the right scripting ideas, Coach Ella, I teach a lot on this, and I'm pretty passionate, right? If you call and ask, hi, is this Jim Smith at 505 Apple Street? Guess what? He's probably going to tell you a wrong number or leave me alone. But if hey, my name is Tyler over at XYZ Realty. I'm a local realtor, and we just listed a house in your neighborhood. You're probably wondering why I'm calling, right? Or did I catch you at a bad time? And they're going to say, yeah, I'm busy, or no, what's up? Oh, I'll make this real quick. The reason I was calling, and you go right there, helps with conversations. Then the next thing you want to do is, if they say, yeah, this is Jim Smith, but we haven't been at that address for probably 2 years. Oh, so sorry about that. Let me update my data. For some reason, I must have some bad data. What neighborhood do you live in now? Oh, Pine Oak subdivision? Oh, you've been there about 2 years? What do you think of it so far? I have some friends that live there as well. some clients of mine bought a house there a year ago. And then you start having a conversation with them, right? So that was a very long-winded answer to that question, Coach Ella, but it's something I'm pretty passionate about. No,
I can tell. Look, and guys, I can see we can get some tips from Tyler. Like, we might have to get you on tips for Tyler Day to come back, because I know you network with a lot of boss agents, and you're learning, and we just appreciate it. I got one question from you from Keita. Does Cole sync automatically to your CRM system?
Yeah, so you can use, so there's a few CRMs that we're integrated with right now. So I know Wise Agent. If you use Wise Agent, you can hit a button and it pushes the data right into Wise Agent. If you use Mojo, Vulcan 7, a lot of those guys, again, there's a button that says push your data right into those systems. I know Lion Desk will be coming out soon. However, you can just download it to Excel, and then once it's into Excel, you can put it into any system you might be using. And we've seen it all. Our customer service is really good about helping troubleshoot some of that stuff, because once it's into an Excel spreadsheet, it might take you 30 seconds, and you can upload that into any CRM that you might be using. Great question.
Can we get you back? Can you come do some training?
And I just love your enthusiasm. I mean, sometimes I get on these calls and there's just no energy, and I love having a smiling face like yourself, where you can play off the energy, right? So, and it's the same thing. Like, I'll tell people, when you are calling and prospecting, stand up, and be, have a mirror in front of you if you need to. Play the music, get excited, because that tone on the other side of the phone goes a long way. They can sense that, right? And
yes. Well, we are a happy group over here. All of my boss ladies, you guys know, look, I can't see the hearts, so I know that you guys are loving on Tyler. Tyler, we just appreciate you. Like, this is a boss move for sure. Like, you don't know what our spring and summer is going to look like, because together we all win. No agents left behind. Guys, this is an opportunity for every single. We make no excuses. We can do this. It's up to us. And that's why I'm just so thankful, because you are like pouring out some nuggets. Like, you even taught me a little thing or two. So
I love it. I love it. And one thing I'd love to end with, Coach Ella, is, of anything, out of this conversation, everybody, is, you don't have to buy our product. Obviously, I'd love for you to buy our product. But if you don't, just go lock yourself in a room at some point and try to make phone calls for 3 hours, no distractions. Lock yourself in a room. It could be your old database. It could be a database that you got from somebody. It could be a list from Cole. And just see what happens in 3 hours of phone calls. And I think a lot of people will be really surprised on what can actually happen with those, how many leads that you can get. And then just realizing, if I did this, 6 hours a week instead of 3 hours a week, and then putting those leads into an action plan. So I would just say that's something to think about. I'd challenge everybody here, especially now, beginning of the year. It's kind of the slower market in a lot of areas, depending on what market you're in. And the time to be doing things like this, because the spring market is going to be upon us in time, right?
So Tyler, what we're doing right now, we're fueling our engines. Like, we're not sleeping. While everybody keeps saying it's a slow market, it's fast paced for us, because we are planting the seeds for a great harvest in the spring, and our summer is just going to look awesome. And the thing is, guys, is this. So it doesn't matter. I told you guys, I'm never about selling. Like, I'm not selling anything. You got to figure out what's going to work for you in your business. And this is what I would say, is that we need tools. We need resources. I always tell you guys this, is that what are you worth per hour? Now, you can spend 10 hours, 2 weeks, looking up telephone numbers and trying to figure it out. But I would say, set something aside so that you can have a tool, a resource that you can be quick at your fingertips. That's what we want. So no, I'm not looking up numbers in the phone book. I'm just not doing it. And knowing that I need to farm an entire area. You need something quick. So whether it's this service or it's any service, I'm telling you to get a service.
Yep.
Because I know a lot of agents that have great success with it. So I can validate to say, you know what? They are rocking it. So we can do the same thing.
Right. And And again, and we're just the data. So then if you buy it and don't do anything with it, then that's a whole different story, right? And we know our renewal rates, right? Our renewal rates are, 60 to 70%. And we know instantly who's not going to renew because they bought it and never logged in, right? They had all these intentions to do it and never did anything. But someone who's logging in, very often and downloading lists, they almost always renew because they understand that it works. It's just putting it into action, like you said. So
yeah, I'm gonna bring that little product into the boardroom. So like everybody know in the boardroom, I think we should have a challenge on this page. So whoever is farming, whatever you're farming, we're gonna have like a contest or something because I'm so excited about this. I'm excited.
Let me know, and I'd love to help somehow sponsor that. Somebody wins something with Cole or
we're gonna hold you to that, Tyler, too.
Or Omaha Steaks, right? That's my always leverage. A gift card or getting 10 ribeyes delivered to your door might help too, right?
Woo! Look, say, you know what? I probably need you to come to Florida. So put something on your calendar. We're having our conference coming up. Get somebody to come out there in April. So I think somebody asked about the Do Not Call. We do have that on the Do Not Call. I know Tyler has to go, ladies. He got to make some more boss moves. Right. So if you got a quick question, put it in the feed like really, really quick. If Tyler, you got some last minute, somebody gave a testimonial, Miss Keita. I sent out a rent-to-own campaign with Kohl's, and I got a couple that reached back out to me today. That was, woo, go ahead, Miss Keita, go ahead.
Love it.
Somebody asked the question, Stephanie, can you look up info on a specific individual? So can you type in a name?
So if you have the address, you can. So that's the only way. You can't just type in Tom Smith and try to get their cell phone or an email. But if you have 505 Apple Street, you can type those in. And then the other thing would be and I hate to say, there's 100 different things you can do with Cole. But if you have your own list, and this is because some people are in like absentee owner markets where they might have a list of, half the people live out of state. Well, if you have that list, a lot of times you can get that list from your title company of their primary address, or even download it from Real List on your MLS or your tax assessor. If you have that list of, let's say, 500 addresses or 1,000 addresses, you can actually upload that into Cole and we'll append it. It's all real time within 20 seconds or so. It will actually append the cell phone numbers and emails to everybody at those addresses. So that would be an additional feature that's included as well. Now, Lincoln, Nebraska, where I'm at, that doesn't matter, right? There's not any absentee owners market, but in Florida, that tends to happen quite a bit, or Cape Cod, Massachusetts. So that's something that would be included with the product as well.
Okay, I think somebody, Miss Annie, a question that may be something you can ask her like offline. I guess she already has the product. She want to get that RELR discount once her contract ends, so we want to make sure she gets that special.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and you were probably locked into a year before that is my guess. So yeah, make sure to call customer service team. Make sure to mention Coach Ella's name. We'll get you set up on the monthly option as well for you. Absolutely.
See why it's nice to know me, guys? Like, so I'm working hard. I'm working hard over here for you, boss ladies. And does it allow you to look up military residents? She lives near a big military base. That was Miss Cassandra.
Yeah, so I mean, again, it'd be the same thing if you knew the neighborhoods that those folks lived in. You just map out that neighborhood. If you knew the zip code and wanted to put in the entire zip code and find everybody, it's not going to flag it that they're with the military, unfortunately. But if you know a specific area that military families tend to live in, I know in DC, we have like a lot of clients that will do that because we'll have families that move in there temporarily, only going to be there for a few years, and they tend to live in certain subdivisions. So we'll have clients that will just work those subdivisions and with a messaging that goes out to military families. Hope that makes sense.
Yes. Okay, Tyler, I know you're ready to wrap it up. We've been rolling, and we can have you all day for real. Like I can pull you to the side. I need to fly wherever you are and to meet up with you. So if you want last minute words, I'm pretty sure we'll have Tyler back. We're going to do a mastermind with you. Like we're going to put Coles to the back burner, right? And then I'm going to get you to come and do a serious mastermind in the boardroom and give us.
You tell me when, but you bring that smile of yours and I'm anywhere. So let's do it. So let's go.
Okay, so last minute, any last minute, and then I'm gonna seal it up, and then we're gonna be out of here.
All right. Looks
You
like
got any last minute?
no. On my end, just guys, make it happen. Now's the time to do it. The shift is upon us in a lot of areas, which is good news for you guys. A shift is good news because the part-time agents, the agents that don't care about real estate, they're dropping out, right? In a shift market, it means that people like yourselves who are willing to roll up their sleeves and earn the business, there's a lot of opportunity out there for you guys. So just go make it happen.
So guys, look, this is what I need you to do real quick. Put in the feed, hashtag dominate, hashtag take it back. It is my time. Let's make some moves. I am the boss, making boss moves every day I work. Come on, boss ladies, let's do it. So look, as I end all calls, all sessions, Kyla, thank you so much. We really, truly appreciate you for taking the time out. Guys, give Tyler some hearts, some love, and we are out. We are out. So you guys have a fabulous day. Continue to do things on purpose. Prospect.
Let's do it. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.